And hello again, boys and girls. Long time no see. It's mildly startled. I finally moved to a room where I have a larger, or how do I put it, thicker walls, so I can actually start doing a bit more in terms of recording. I know it's been quite some time, but with work and just the nature of the beast, with moving around a lot, I just haven't had the time to do it. But I've moved to a new job role, and so that's good. Really, this video is sort of an explanation that why I've been away for so long, and the reason why is because of where I was living. The walls were too thin, and I couldn't record at night. Yeah, of course, when I've got a working day ahead of me, I just can't do it. But now I'm back for now, and I'm going to do something a bit different. So for those of you who don't know what I do, I used to play video games. Still do in my free time. I used to record and upload them, strategy games, things like that, which I still hope to do in my free time when I can record. But at the same time, with my new job role, I've got to start thinking about sort of remembering my old skills. So for those who don't know me, I don't think I've actually ever told anyone I do digital forensics. So that is the study of digital evidence stored on people's computers and electronic devices to be used in investigations. Now, that was I moved in that role for about a year now. But before that, I did video forensics, which was actually enhancement and recovery of video evidence, again for use in criminal investigations. Unfortunately, I've moved away those two roles. That's the nature of the beast. But I want to keep current, and I want to keep those sort of skills and drills sort of still fresh in my mind. And that's sort of aim of these next couple of videos. So it's going to be a bit different for the channel, but my main aim is to effectively just go over some of the basics. Of course, I can't tell you everything, obviously, but I don't want you dodging the law, so to speak. But for any of you sort of budding digital forensic examiners, if you want to learn more about computing, that sort of thing, then these videos will hopefully be able to assist you in that. We'll start from the basics. So what my aim is over the case space of next couple of months, we start with the basics and work up the basics. I'm by no means a complete expert. The nature of the field is that it's always changing, and so what I teach you today might be redundant tomorrow. But as long as I teach you the basic concepts, you should be good. All my gamer bros out there will still be doing the video games now. I've got some space to do it, so I'm probably hoping to upload a couple of videos like this throughout the week, and then a few games in my free time. I may have to push back from the streaming. Sadly, my Wi-Fi is not as good, so I can record and upload, but not really stream. But this will hopefully make sure I've got my skills and drills still on top. You can see in my background. I know what you're thinking. Also, video forensics. Why your video is so crap? Well, because I'm a lazy, a lazy boy. Basically, I'm a lazy boy, and I can't be asked after work. I mean, it's like a cook when he comes home, he just has like a hamburger. It's like when I do video forensics or digital forensics, I don't really want to spend too long on this, as you can probably tell from the AI generated background image, which I'll probably be dumping in every now and then because AI is very impressive and is potentially the future, especially when it comes to analysis. But next videos will be in the playlist, so I'll do one for video forensics, one for digital forensics, and again we'll just do the basics, so you just understand how computers work and how they sort of translate data. So if you're looking to get into the field, it could be very useful for you, and if not, it is what it is. I'm by no means an expert. I did it for about a year and a bit for computer forensics, and I've done video forensics for about 3 years. But now I'm moving away from those roles. I want to stay up and keen, and also show this any LinkedIn boys and girls to say, look, I'm fucking competent. I know what I'm doing. Until it goes horribly wrong and I screw it all up. So it's going to be quite ghetto build. It's going to be quite basic, but we'll start with the simple stuff. So the first thing we'll really go over is hopefully the videos will be about 10-15 minutes long as well. So we'll do the real basics in 15-minute chunks. So the first thing I want to go over is what is digital forensics. That is effectively the recovery, analysis, and reporting of digital evidence stored on a data storage medium, used in criminal investigations or for intelligence or as evidence in court. Long story short, in simple terms, that's just the recovery of computer devices or electronic devices, recovering it in a forensically sound manner, examining it, and then reporting on what you see inside. There's different levels to it. You can do the basic sort of say what you see and then go into real detail. But of course, yeah, it takes years and years of practice. So I'll stop. I've only really basic into the role. What we'll go over really first is discussing the concepts behind digital forensics, or in other words, the sort of key aspects to how the work is performed. So it's was gone are the halcyon days of just plug it in and hope it works, or just break it apart. Now people are becoming more savvy with tech, especially defense lawyers and things like that, who now want to sort of explain the continuity of the evidence, whether or not the evidence has changed. And so, as a digital forensics examiner or investigator, you've got to make sure whatever evidence you recover is recovered in a forensically sound manner. Forensically sound is simply not changing evidence, making sure if you do conduct work, a third party can look at what you've done and repeat it, making sure that your lead investigators are fully apprised over the details, and making sure you're competent to access the data, which comes from sort of certifications, things like that. A bit of a scam certifications. They normally expire after a couple of years, when in reality it's a bit of a waste of time, but that's the market, so to speak. The way I see it is that your license doesn't expire after 2 years, your driving license, so why should your certifications expire as long as you're doing the work consistently? Now, the first thing we'll show is perhaps the. If I take off the image and bring up this chap up, is this chap here? So I'm going to move that down for you. Oh, am I going to move it down? No, no. Yes, I am. Come on now. There we go. There we go. This chap here. So how we do our bread and butter is the sort of the four tenets of digital forensics, and that is the ACPO principles, which I think is like the Association of Chief Police Officers. So back in the day, it was all rogue. No one knew what was going on. No one knew what bloody Mac was or whatever, and it led to a large variety of quality when it came to work and sort of defending it in court. So the police got together, or the high ups got together, and thought we need to make some standards in place that will mean that everyone's singing off the same song sheet. Thus, the ACPO principles. So these principles govern how we sort of handle the data, recover the data, and examine it. And as long as we follow them, you shouldn't have any issues. And if you don't know how to do something, because let's be honest with this work, there's always something you won't know. You always will fall back on the ACPO principles. As long as you follow the ACPO principles, you should be good to go. Even if you're dealing with something that sort of is completely off kilter, like, I don't know, a Nokia Lumia phone that's like an old Windows operating system on a phone that just doesn't work and it's a complete nightmare because no one knows how to get the data off of it. But of course, that's changed now. Evidence has got passed and things got better, but things like that. So let's break it down and then we'll go from scratch. So, no action must be taken that will change data held on a digital device that could later be relied on as evidence in court. Now, that's not the word for word from the Association of Chief Police Officers, but effectively that means that any evidence that is relied upon in court must not be changed. In other words, if I take your, I don't know, a USB stick off you, and I plug it in and start right-clicking things, changing it, well, I'm going to start changing the last access, last modified date. That's bad because it screws up everything and it shouldn't be done. So a lot of our forensic processes are governed around not changing any data when we get hold of it. This generally means that we use copies of the data. So if we're doing video evidence, we normally use a copy of the video evidence, or we use things like imaging, where we take a hard drive or a USB and we image it and create a virtual copy that is not changeable. And then we make a copy of that, or we examine that unchangeable copy, and then we take the original exhibit and we put it to one side. That way, we don't change the original exhibit. Of course, in some cases, you may have to change some of the settings on the device to get hold of that data, but we record it all, and we do our best to avoid the accessing and changing as much as we can. So one option is imaging, second option is copying, another option is perhaps write blocking. Now we'll go into more detail about that later, but write blockers effectively prevent you doing read or write changes. In simple words, if I plug a write blocker in to my computer and I plug a USB into the write blocker, I shouldn't be able to add anything new onto that USB, nor should I be able to delete what's on that USB. And I should be able to make copies, examine it fairly safely. But in simple terms, we don't change the original evidence. When it's necessary to access the original data held in the digital devices, you must be both competent to do so and able to explain your actions, as well as explain the impact of them on digital evidence used in court. In simple terms, again, you've got to know what you're doing, and that comes from either experience or that comes from certifications. Now, some certifications are better than others. So the core skills in data recovery and analysis by the College of Policing is extremely good. If you can get onto that, if you're looking to get into the field, then I would recommend perhaps the Control F courses if you live in the UK. Much slower paced, very good, especially if you're just getting into the role. When you start moving to more complex areas, you might have to do with SANS calls. They're very complex, very dense bits of certification. But these certs effectively act as our proof that we haven't changed any, that we know what we're doing. And coupled with the experience, that's good. Now, on one hand, that's good because it means that you don't just have random people doing a job. On the other hand, it's turned into a bit of a cartel. So there's a lot of vendor courses out there which expire after 2 years, even though you're constantly using the software. That doesn't really make any sense to me. It seems a bit silly. But hey ho, it is what it is. And as long as you've done it, I don't really care if it expires. Like again, your driving license doesn't expire. I mean, if you're constantly working on a piece of forensic software and your cert expires, does it get thrown out of court? No, it doesn't. It's silly. But nevertheless, we will continue on as we prepare to do so. Simple terms, you've got to know what you're doing, and if you don't, you've got to do your research first, and you've got to explain all your actions. Really simple stuff. For the third principle, a trail or record of all actions must be taken and applied to digital evidence, which must be created and kept safely and securely. If an independent third-party forensic expert examines the processes, they should be able to come to the exact same conclusion. In simple terms, your work has to be repeatable. It needs to be repeatable and verifiable. If you find this key piece of evidence that changes everything, well, put it bluntly, you need to be able to prove, and someone else needs to repeat your work. So that leads to things like contemporaneous notes or recordings and things like that, or logs on software, forensic software. Simply put, you need to make a record of all your actions, the software you used, the versions you used, the make and model of your hardware, and things like that. So when it comes around to court, someone else can take a look and get the exact same result, a bit like a science. Well, it is a science. The same result by following those steps. If that includes negative results, that includes testing, all that sort of stuff. And then the person in charge of the investigation has overall responsibility. That means the guy who's told you to do it has overall responsibility. Is that a get out of jail free card? No, it isn't. You can't just say, "Oh well, it's not my problem. The boss will take the slack," or the investigator who's contacted me. Well, it's his fault if I screw up. It doesn't work that way. The fourth is a sort of a hold all. So if the lead investigator tells you to do something you shouldn't be doing, like I don't know, going through some non-suspect's family member's mobile phone, then that's on them. You've still got to have some high level of integrity as a digital forensic examiner, because if you don't, then you're on the struggle bus and you're going to feel the pain. These, in short, govern everything we do. Everything we do. When in doubt, ACPO your way out. If you come across a new bit of data, a new device, a new piece of hardware, a CCTV system you've never known or discovered before, then you rely on the ACPO. And it's simple. Don't change data. Make sure you know what you're doing, and make sure you keep a record of everything, and make sure the lead investigator knows what you're doing and what you're not prepared to do. Those govern everything. Now, in the field, some people have tried to proclaim these new standards, the FSR guidelines, to replace ACPO. Now, why? I feel that personally, that's simply because there's a couple of high-ups around who want to get a promotion. You know what I mean? Let's reinvent the wheel. Simple fact of the matter is, if you follow those principles, you ain't going to change much. You're going to cause very little damage. That you can live off the ACPO principles and be perfectly fine in your work, or you can look at the FSR guidelines, and which are like 50 pages long or whatever, and they can just melt your mind. Not a good idea. So now that we've sort of discussed the foundation of how we deal with digital forensics, we'll probably start going into actually doing it. But we're going to go real basic. We're talking like low level stuff, like what's a bit, what's a byte, all that sort of stuff. But I can see I've already almost took 15 minutes, so we'll be moving on shortly, and I'll be ending the video. I might try and get another AI generated Bing image of so on and so forth for an introduction, but we'll see. Finally, of course, if you're looking to dodge things or run away, bear in mind that I'm not going to be telling you how to hide evidence, and I'm not going to be telling you how to dodge the law. This is just foundation understanding of computer forensics, and then from there you can hopefully build off that if you want to get into a role. But no, there will be no what's the best mobile phone to use to dodge to hide things, or what's the best application. We're not doing that. But if you have any questions, don't feel free to ask. For all my gamer chaps out there, I missed you guys, but we'll move on, and I will go back to playing video games as well. I was tempted to make another channel, couldn't be bothered. I was doing low level stuff. Anyway, with that, I will see you all later.